Now that you know how to play both versions of Wits and Wagers, we're going to take a look at it in our point-counterpoint review.
Because Mike and I both prefer the Whil Wheaton version of the game, that's what we're going to review. And because Mike and I agree about the Whil Wheaton version of the game, I'm going to roll to see who argues for the game and who argues against. If it's even, I'll take the pros, and if it's odd, he will.
Again, I will tell everybody how much I enjoy games, and Tom will tell everybody
that Whil Wheaton should shut his trap, but he shouldn't because I love you, Wheaton.
It's okay. He knows. So, the first thing I really love about this game is, unlike other trivia games, and I generally avoid other trivia games for this reason, you can play this with anybody. You can play this one. You can't play other trivia games with your niece or your grandma because you don't have overlapping knowledge bases. You can play them, but only one player is going to know the answer at any given time. You're not going to have enough shared knowledge in order to meaningfully play trivia with one another. But with this one, you can play it with anybody. Everybody enjoys this game. Everybody I play with seems to want to play it again right away. You can play this with family, friends, everybody.
I guess the first thing I have to say about it is that we do have to review the Whil Wheaton version because we don't like the previous version. The real problem, there's two things to say. The real problem with it is that the way betting works, you get an early lead. If you're the first one to hit on the 4 or 5-to-1 payouts, you're just going to snowball. You have more money to risk, so you have more money to bet, so you're going to win first. That's really the way it works. The second problem really is that the rulebook itself, it has all the information on the first 2 pages. It seems like it has all the information on the first 2 pages, and then there's a couple pages of examples afterward. But there are still a few rules hidden in those examples. And if you don't read them, you're going to miss them. That's a con for me.
Yeah. And I'll note that for a 5-6 page rulebook, a full 2 pages are taken up by an advert. Not very classy, North Star. But that said, I continue on from the first point. It's a very inclusive trivia game. So not only can you play this with people who have a different knowledge base than you, but you can play this with people who don't like trivia. I don't like trivia games. I have a good friend who doesn't like trivia games. We both love this one because the answers are all numerical. You can kind of guesstimate them. A lot of them feel more like kind of logic problems, especially the percentage ones. Sure. Feel more like kind of logic problems than actual trivia. For instance, I once came across how many turkeys are eaten each year in the U.S. annually. On Thanksgiving. And you can kind of math that one out a little bit. You can say, well, I know there's this many people in the U.S. I think about this many people would celebrate Thanksgiving. I think this many people would eat a single turkey. It's kind of more feels like logic than trivia. So I feel like everybody can get into this one. It's totally inclusive.
I guess the only real problem I could find with our favorite version of the game, the Whil Wheaton version, is that betting is sort of a little wonky here too. If you manage to get an early lead, we played at 15 points. If you manage to get an early lead or other people manage to fall behind and miss points a few turns, if one person is out ahead, all you have to do is really just keep getting the minimum number of points each turn and you'll win. You don't have to take big risks, whereas the other players in the game, if they're behind, have to take those risks, and there's no guarantee they'll catch up.
Yeah, absolutely. It can be kind of a negative play experience for those players if they have to basically double down on something every turn to have even a shot. Yeah. But, I do like the components of this one. I don't like the rulebook, but I do really like the whiteboards. In other similar games like this, you'll have a piece of paper instead of the whiteboard. I haven't really seen this one elsewhere other than in North Star's line. So I have to give them credit for that. And I think the whiteboards work really well. They're a little more colorful, a little more fun to look at.
Better for the environment?
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, they're just a little more pleasant to use than paper. You don't have to worry about running out. I know in Wise and Otherwise, for instance, I'm kind of running out of sheets for it.
Yep.
So this one, I kind of like that.
You don't have to worry about running out of paper, but you have to worry about running out of marker. Because how many have we had run out immediately?
In my copy 2 already. Yeah. I haven't played it that much.
So that's sort of a con. I mean, dry erase markers, not that big a deal. You can get replacements. The real problem with the components, though, is this is your stack of trivia cards. It's just not that big for a trivia game. There are 7 questions on each card, but with a game like Wise and Otherwise, how big is your stack?
It's a whole tray.
Right.
Same with Trivial Pursuit. Yeah, you're right.
So you're just going to have limited replayability with this before you start seeing the same questions again and remembering the answers.
Yeah, it's true. But, if we can pull ourselves out of the point-counterpoint review, if you can tear yourself away from your miserly visage for a moment, Tom, then maybe we can talk about what we really think of the game.
Well, I can see a setting for either version of the rules. I can see a setting where you're like in college, you want to play poker, but you're nerds, so you want to play a nerdy version of poker.
That is a problem I often come. I want to play poker, but I'm a nerd.
Yes.
What can I do?
This is the exact kind of game that would be good for in either version, I think. And I'm exactly the kind of person who would enjoy that. I think the out-of-the-box version lends itself toward that more because it seems like you should be replacing the chips with money, because then you're not going to really run into the same kind of problem that you get. If you're walking away from the table with your winnings, you're not really running into the same problem that we mentioned where you win early, you win the game.
Right, because you're not going to want to risk the money.
Right,
That makes sense.
So anyway, but either version of the game, I think fun, in the right setting, going to be awesome. I do prefer the Whil Wheaton version because it is more universal. I'll give it 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10? So I mostly agree with that. I think that, I've played more of the Whil Wheaton version. I have given that one more of a fair shake. I do really like the way it plays. Every time I bring it out, people want to play it again. I don't think it's like potato chips. You can't play just one game of Wits and Wagers. So yeah, for that reason, I'm also gonna give it a 7 out of 10. I'm tempted to give it a higher score, but it's innovative, but it's still a party game. And I think the only reason it's not higher, 8 or 9, is this is a really small stack. I've already started to see repeat questions.
Yeah.
And that's not good for a trivia game. So the longevity is questionable at this point.
I would say you could just swap in trivia cards from another game, but all the answers have to be numbers.
Right. I mean, the format of the questions makes the game.
Yeah.
It totally drives the gameplay.
All right, that's our review of Wits and Wagers. Stay tuned for the breakdown. And now we have the breakdown of Wits and Wagers from North Star Games. Of special note is that we're reviewing the Whil Wheaton version of the game and not the core game. Wits and Wagers plays in less than half an hour, so we give it 90 short and 10 long. It's also a very fast game. Everyone is playing at the same time, and it's pretty rare to wait for someone else to give an answer, so we give it 95 fast and 5 slow. We give it 5 luck because you might get a question card that doesn't have a question that you want to ask, but otherwise it's all skill at 95. Knowing trivia helps, but you really win by judging the best answer. We give it a perfect 100 in tactics. Either you're going to score every turn or you're not. It's a near even split for interaction and independence at 55-45. We give the edge to interaction because the factors that go into betting are highly interactive. We give it 100 abstraction because it is a party trivia game with absolutely no theme. We give it 100 simplicity because all you have to do is write an answer and place a bet and you know how to play the game. We give it 50-50 on portability and grandeur. You could condense the game into an extremely portable version, but that felt playmat is nice and it comes in an average sized box. We give it 70 expandability and 30 completeness. There's not too many cards in the game and you will eventually want more, but if you don't play party games often, it's easy to forget the answers. We give it 5 trophies for originality because it's a unique trivia game that doesn't really require you to know any trivia. We give it 3 trophies for value. There are some really good components, some kind of bad components, some components you may not use, but it's all in a very affordable box. Both Mike and Tom give it 7 out of 10, and that is the breakdown of Wits and Wagers.